What's up, everyone? It's us again.
Wow.
Didn't see that coming, did
No,
you?
I didn't.
Well, that's it. Now I'm going back to my quiet voice. We're going to talk about production versus like composition today. You know? No?
Yes.
Both are very important, but some things are more powerful than others in some instances. And they can take away from the other. You know, if you have something that's brilliantly produced, but it's just like one note or one chord or just very simple and uninteresting, then it won't appeal to people like myself, because I need a balance of the two. Vice versa, if you have something that's brilliantly composed, just an epic work of music, but the presentation is then why would I bother listening to it? If you have not put in the consideration to the listener of how you're going to present your work, then, you know, why would I bother listening to it? So two things are very important. What do you say, Omar?
Well, I've always said that a great song is a song that you can strip down to its core of just melody and lyrics and be played on one instrument, and it'll still be a great song, no matter how stripped down it is.
True.
So think of any great song in history. If you can strip it down to not even singing, if you can just play the melody on an instrument.
Yeah, it's harmony and melody.
Harmony and melody. And if it works, if it sounds good just with one instrument, then it's a great song.
I agree.
And I feel like the sad thing about today's music is that it's very heavily focused on production, which it's not a bad thing, but I feel like it makes composers lazy. So I feel like these days, not a lot of people have a lot of musical knowledge. They don't think outside of the four chords. They just produce around them.
Well, this is popular music. Again, we've been ranting and raving about popular music, but I think there is some good stuff that comes out, but you just have to look for it. There are many very talented artists, instrumentalists, lyricists, singers. Just they are not at the forefront because they do not conform to the preset formula of what is supposed to be successful, which is the four chords, the 1, 6, the 5, and the 4.
If you're not familiar with what the four chords are, I'm going to leave a link in the description below so you can check out a great video that demonstrates what they are.
It's a bit dated now, but its message echoes into the future.
Yeah.
These four chords, they're a fascinating idea. I think we should do something with them.
We should.
Can we write a song with the four chords and make it interesting? Interesting-er. Is that a word?
No.
More interesting?
Maybe we can do a video on that sometime.
We should do a video on that sometime.
But with regards to production versus composition, which one do you think is more important to you?
Composition. I think you should have a good melody, good harmony, good rhythm. But it's not to say that it is the only important thing, because whatever you produce, it needs to be presentable. It needs to be audible. All the instruments need to kind of have their space and interact with each other in a way where it's not just either mushy or piercing or some other unpleasant characteristic. It's a craft that I think every musician should be familiar with, how to produce their music a little bit so it sounds decent, but also, of course, the music itself, because you're a musician. So some interesting chords, some interesting melodies, some unusual things, experimentation, just something interesting that does not sound like everything else.
Do you think production is a skill that every artist should be able to do, at least on a basic level?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, as an independent musician, I was just telling my friend this today, I feel like I have so much burden on my shoulders to, learn so many things that have nothing to do with songwriting or singing. And I feel like focusing on all those different things takes away from my progression as an artist, because instead of focusing on bettering my vocals and my technique and my breathing and even my songwriting skills, like I'm focused on editing video, I'm focused on learning about filmmaking, I'm focused on learning about production, investing in equipment. There's so much that goes into being an artist these days. It's such an uphill battle.
It's the world we live in. And it's necessary to be able to do these things unless you have other people helping you. Like the thing that I dislike most is producing, mixing, and just working in the studio to, produce a song. I hate it.
Honestly, I kind of really dislike that process too.
Yes.
Like my favorite thing to do is go on stage and perform live. Like that's what I live for. That's what I love.
I agree.
But recording in the studio, like I feel so confined because I have to get that phrase right or I have to get that tone right. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
And it feels kind of unnatural to me because when I sing on stage, I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just feeding off of the energy of the crowd. But when I'm in the studio, I have to think about how I'm going to sing this lyric. Should I make it short? Should I make it long? Should I be nasal on this one or should I be breathy? Just playing with the texture of your voice and how you pronounce certain words and
you're kind of working it out for what it would be live, or is it completely different live than what you would produce?
Honestly, when I sing live, I don't have a specific way of singing a song. If you see my performances over the last 5 years, you'll notice that I have not sung the same song the same way twice. I always change it up, even if it's just like one note. But I don't do it on purpose. It just happens because I'm kind of improvising in the moment because I'm feeling the song. And usually when the crowd is being too quiet, I'll kind of take it down a notch and kind of feel their vibes. And even my interaction with them will be on a much lower energy. But when the crowd is up and going and I get too excited, I could do a few more runs here and they'll go wild. I can hit a high note here and they'll go wild. But if it's like a quiet crowd, then I'll keep it tasteful and I'll show some restraint. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
And I do the exact opposite.
What do you do?
If they're quiet, they need to wake the up. So I'll do something crazy so people just drop their forks. If I'm performing at a restaurant, just drop it and have food falling out of their mouth and be like, what did he do? Now I'm paying attention to him. If everybody's having a good time, you're doing something right. So keep doing it.
Yeah, but it really depends on the energy that you're getting. Just because the crowd is quiet doesn't mean they're not enjoying your song. Sometimes,
That's
like
true.
For me, when I go to a concert, if it's an artist that I love so much, I'm usually mesmerized by what I'm seeing. And it's very rare that I go to concerts because I hate the concert experience. Like I'm not willing to stand for hours waiting for my artist to go on stage. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that to me is exhausting. And then I don't like being in a big crowd of people. That I'm kind of claustrophobic, so that kind of gives me a bit of anxiety. Yeah, so when I go to a show or to a concert, it's usually an artist that I've been wanting to see for a very long time and an artist who I've admired for ages. Like for example, Mariah Carey, when I went to see her 2 years ago, I didn't sing a single word. I just looked at her and I was mesmerized by the whole experience. So just because I wasn't singing along or showing any, I wasn't reacting like the rest of the crowd was, doesn't mean that I wasn't enjoying the show. I loved it. She was amazing. But it's just the energy that I got,
What was the rest of the crowd doing?
Oh, they were going crazy.
They were howling the whole time?
Yeah. Like, of course, I screamed whenever she would do like the whistle register or or hit a high note that she's really known for.
It's all recorded, huh? The whistling and all that stuff?
No. It was all live. It was all live. She did it live. Listen, even if it's recorded, I don't care. The woman is approaching her 50s and like she's an amazing artist. Like, I don't care if she lip syncs. It's Mariah Carey. She's at this point, she's done it all. But we're straying away from the from the topic.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about production versus composition. And then I went on to talk about, what was it?
Mariah Carey.
No, before Mariah Carey. How did we get to Mariah Carey?
About how you perform things. And I asked you if the way you produce things is kind of a template for how you would do them live.
Correct, yes. But no, that's not the case. For me, the recording experience is a completely different experience than the live experience. Even when I do my live performances, I usually try to replace the instruments, make them suited to a live audience. I add more fills. I make it more exciting so that they get up and have a different feel. And honestly, to give them something different, if they're gonna listen to the same exact track that I recorded in the studio at the show, then what value am I giving them? They're there to have fun and see the artist that they love in real life doing something completely different. Not completely different, still singing the same songs that they love, but it's just in a different context.
I agree with you, but I will play devil's advocate for a moment. Perhaps part of the enjoyment of them being there is hearing the thing that they all know and they're all familiar with, but in a communal context.
Yes.
So when you listen to Mariah Carey, everybody's singing the songs and you're like, oh my God, I know the words, and these 10,000 people behind me know the words as well, and we're singing together, and it's amazing. We're all whistling together. So I think that has its own kind of appeal as opposed to seeing something different.
Yes.
But I agree, like if you have the record, why would you go and see the record live? You want to see something new.
Yeah.
So I'd appreciate some changes or, you know.
If you know what you're gonna get, then it's not exciting. Like if there's an extra fill here, or if there's a different note than the album that everybody knows so well and you do it differently live, then that's like, ooh, he did it differently, you know? Like it and they kind of relate that to their own experience. It makes it personal for them, for that moment. And I think, like, I don't know about other people, but I do this. Like I still remember some of the notes that some of my favorite artists did during their live shows, and I'm like, oh, I remember when he or she did that during the show.
Good or bad?
No, good.
Okay.
Good. No, but like they sing a different note, you know?
Yeah.
Like for example, if I say, no, I'm not perfect, and instead of that, like if I do it live, I can be like, no, I'm not perfect, you know, something like that. You know, it's a different way of doing it, but it's still the same song. And they can always remember that, he sang it that way when I was there. So it kind of adds a personal touch to it.
Well, this is more a musician's kind of thing where you remember, that note, what a note.
No, this is an avid fan's thing, you know.
I think the average listener will go on and be like, that's C sharp.
No, the average listener
supposed to be an E.
No, the average listener won't say that, but if you know, if you're a fan of an artist and you're such a big fan, then you'll notice the differences. You will.
So your brother is a bit of an aficionado of some popular groups.
Yes.
How does he feel about this?
He feels exactly the same way. He's super passionate.
You've spoken about this to him?
Yes. My brother is crazy, in a good way.
Omar says so. I haven't seen him do anything
He
crazy.
knows his acts inside out. He knows the tiniest little details about their lives. It's kind of creepy, actually.
In a good way.
In a good way. He's a very nice guy.
But just don't tell him any details about your lives. He remembers that stuff. He'll know when you change your C sharps to E's.
Beware.
So,
if you're a musician, let us know. What is more important to you? Is it production or composition?
Shahbadi, that's what we were talking about before. Totally forgot. I wish that I could just come in, play a little guitar, somebody would record me, produce it, fix it, make all my mistakes sound great, and then come back and spit out a beautiful recording to me. But that's not the case for the modern, self-sufficient
It's not the case right now, but eventually I think it will be.
When we're rich and famous.
Yes.
So, send us your money so we can become rich and famous and we don't have to do what we don't like.
Do that again.
You gonna do some effect on my fingers?
Maybe.
Thunder! You got your work cut out for you.
I know. Ugh. Let us know what you guys thought in the comments, and please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You will see us next time.
Very good.